back to Studioloo. It's Cindy. So I have the first of probably a few journal flip throughs for you. I've been busy working on these little traveler's notebooks. So this one I'm just calling Golden Sparrow, and it is in my masterboard style cover. So it is it's a lot of fun. It's very collaged. So let's get into it. So the whole journal is tied closed with a stitched in eco-printed cotton fabric ribbon, and it's from a vintage tablecloth. So it's this nice golden color, and it's a nice heavy cotton and has this little bit of a fringe with holes along one edge, and it's just really fun, very long, so you can wrap it multiple times around the journal. So this journal has a pocket on the front that is in patchwork fabric, and it has a nice heavy tag on the inside, so it's a heavy cardstock tag, and on the front it has the little golden sparrows. This is an image from a children's book, some fabric in back, and just a simple little tie. And then, of course, this is a collage style masterboard cover that's been fully sealed and stitched around. There's some fairies and flowers and some writing about gnomes. It has been double bound with fabric stitching just to strengthen it, and it is a 3-hole bound journal. On back, you'll see some more lovely florals and this beautiful little pearly eye. This is from the Paper Cameo on Etsy from one of her journal kits. So let's just hop into it, pop this tag back in here. So when you open the journal, you'll see the inside is backed in this beautiful fabric. It's a silk, and up here we have a fabric pocket. It's just a little bit of eco-printed linen. And inside the pocket, we have a large journal card that I made from a vintage children's book, and it has a little sealed Japanese maple leaf there, and it says, "Enchanter who lived in the wood." And the first page has a tuck spot made from this adorable vintage photo of this little kid picking dandelions. These journals I typically use my 1950s photography collection in. I'm a big buyer of antique and vintage photography, and so this is where they all end up going, into these books. So in the background, you'll see some tea-dyed paper with dried flowers on it. That's all part of the image on the paper. And then this is a tag with a tuck attached, and it says Mandarin with leaves. This is from a book of little things that just kind of bring you joy. So the tag in back is collaged. There's some dictionary page. It says recollection. The back is nice tea-dyed paper fabric tab here. And inside is some more vintage ephemera. So this is an old CB card. If you're familiar with CB radio, people used to create these cards that had their identification information, and this is from the Richardsons of Oshawa, Ontario. They were like a calling card that they would exchange with other people. And this page is tea-dyed and has some nice stamping below here. And this is just a beautiful floral and music page with a little fabric tab down here. This is a page from a vintage garden magazine with a little cluster here of fabrics and a little crocheted flower and button. And then on this side we have a Frida Kahlo playing card. In back, just some nice yellow paper. And inside is a vintage postcard of the Colton Memorial Chapel, Lafayette College, Easton, Pennsylvania. It is not written on, and it is vintage. This is a jelly printed music paper from an old book from the late 1800s called Weep Some More, My Lady. It was like a really interesting music book about grieving songs, essentially. This is a little pocket made from a Richard Scarry book. And inside we have two things. One is a vintage bridge score card. And the second is this little tag that I made from a vintage children's book. It says, "The forest is very beautiful in winter." And this is some children's nature study tracing paper with a verse on it. And then we have here a journal card that's made from a Spiderwick Chronicles book. I really love these characters, so I just collaged them on top of this paper with the bright moon there. And then we have a seed packet image, and that's a vintage brass paper clip holding that on. And then some tea-dyed paper with acorns and daffodils. And on this side we have a collage pocket. It's got this cute little field mouse hanging out in some poppies and daisies and a monarch butterfly. And inside the pocket, it's actually a double pocket. So behind the pocket is a pocket, and then this itself is a pocket. And it's all stitched around. So in the back of the pocket, we have a journal card made from a vintage Black Beauty book from the 1950s. And then this little fabric tag that I've collaged with a butterfly that has a little bit of dimension. It pops up, and this little bird down here. And that goes inside this pocket. And the little butterfly just overlaps a little, which is super cute. Then this is a little half-size pocket with some pumpkins and some old 1950s newspaper collage. And then inside we have this little journal tag. And that just tucks on in there. And more of those beautiful pumpkins. And then here we have an upper tuck pocket made from an index card with the letter O and some lace and a little safety pin here with different beads. And then a little 1950s poetry verse. And inside here we have this super cute pull down journal tag. It's from a baby's book, and it says, when the first baby laughed for the first time, the laugh broke into 1,000 pieces and they all went skipping about, and that was the beginning of fairies. Pretty cute. And it's on this beautiful floral paper. Oopsies, my phone was trying to join us here. And then there's some stenciling here. And then this is actually from a nature notebook. It's like you can draw images on the day that you're out, or take notes on your day. And on this side we have this lace belly band that's been stitched on the side. And this is a tag about the coca plant from a vintage book about plants. And then over here we have a fabric ruffle and this charm on a bulb pin of this little metal leaf. It's really beautiful. It's from a vintage jewelry that I took apart. And this side we have another just a little kind of scrap of beautiful tea-dyed shibori paper. And then this is a botanical image from a vintage book. And this side we have this beautiful moth image from a vintage field guide, and it's a tip out and it has more moths on back. And this side is cabbage dyed paper, very beautiful and blue. And clipped on we have 2 pieces of original ephemera. So this is a vintage plant card about the variegated myrtle plant. You could cover the back with paper if you wanted to actually journal on it, but I find I like to leave the vintage things just as they are a lot of the time. And then this little photograph, super cute, August 12th, 1957. And is that 7? Yeah. And it's this little family with their dog under a tree. Very cute. And then this is actually a print of a design that I did last year. I was playing with different floral designs for digitals, and these are some of the professionally printed ones that I finalized. And it's on a cardstock weight paper. And this is a vintage children's book page, and it's got really cute images and some text, and it just flips out. Then we have a sort of a double pocket back here. So this is another vintage 1950s photo, and it's from far away of a woman carrying her baby on what looks like a beach, and she's got a basket or a purse in her hand. And then inside is this cute little whimsical tag. And inside the large pocket is this, this is a macro photography plant photo from a beautiful macro photography book all about nice close-ups of flowers. It's mostly like orchids and just really beautiful flowers. And then in the center of the journal, we have a page of Edith Holden. This is the Catkins of Goat Willow in March, blue and white periwinkle as well. And yeah, a little tab up here. And on the tab, we have a little Swarovski crystal bead. It's a nice little champagne pink. And here we have a gray lace pocket, and inside a collage tag with some lace on top. And it says, "And all the trees were bread and cheese." And it has a vintage stamp there. And then vintage paper clip rusted here on my print. A couple pieces of ephemera. So this is just this cute, this was actually like a postcard style children's book of the story of the wild swans. So it's these two kids on a jumping horse in this big grassy plain. And then this is just a cute like circus themed kind of fun card that I found that says "Have fun." Oopsies. And that also tucks in there with the postcard. And this is cabbage dyed paper with a little leaf down here. And this is a page from a vintage plant book, as you'll see in a moment. And it has a really nice copper oxidized button here with some tatting lace, little tab. And there's those botanicals. And then this is just that other side of that shibori paper that was cabbage dyed. And then we have a little fabric and lace kind of tab with some fun loose threads. I leave a lot of these loose threads because I just love the feel that they give. And these are really cute little flowers. Then we have paper clipped on here with a rusty paper clip, just a field guide, vintage field guide about birds. These are the goldfinches and grosbeaks and siskins. Then on this side, we have this cute little pocket made from this verse, and it's kind of funny. It's about cabbage. I'll read it to you quickly. "Liberty cabbage, now is the name, but the thing remains the same. Has it not the old aroma? Is not liberty a misnomer? Why discard the name as hellish when the thing itself you relish? You may flout it and may scold. No name fits it like the old. When applied to sauerkraut, liberty beyond a doubt loses something of her halo. Should this little bit of reason be adjudged an act of treason? You may thrust me into jailo, but in spite of all your pains, sauerkraut it still remains." So it was from like an old book about, I believe, like folk art and poetry, and that was just a fun little like sauerkraut poem I thought was really cute. And then there's this journal card inside with this beautiful fish, and this is from a children's book. And we have this little paper tab here and some botanicals. Then we have more of those beautiful pumpkins and May 30th, 1927 newspaper collage. Inside the pocket, we have this little journal card with a tab, some butterfly and birds. That just pops in there. More pumpkins, coffee dyed dotted paper with fabric and feed sack and lace tab. And this says "In the Forest," and there's a little fairy holding a maple seed popping out there. And then we have a fabric and button tab and some bees. And this is another of those nature study pages with the children's like tracing verses. And this is a pocket from a Richard Scarry book. And this is a botanical tag inside and an original piece of old ephemera on this old rice paper. So, or onion skin paper, sorry. So this is the map of the Settle Carlisle line. And it was in an old book, and it's a very lovely, delicate old piece of ephemera. You can write on the back. It's not so delicate that it's going to crack or fall apart, but it is lovely and old. And then this is a botanical tag. The formula I used to make this is from Roxy's Creations, from her weekly challenge. They're called botanical sample tags, and you match up fabrics that are the same color as whatever image that you're going to use on your tag. And I used a vintage 1950s botanical book. I have to pop that in there first. I think it's easier to just put you in first. Tuck, tuck. Needs a little bit of help with the strength of this to go down all the way. There we go. Tuck. I guess it would help if I grabbed the whole piece of paper. There we go. I'll adjust that later. I won't waste time on camera here while you're watching and waiting. This is more of that vintage music book that's been jelly printed on the back. And then we have this fabric pocket made from this beautiful lace. And this is Vintage Garden Magazine. And then this is a collage tag that I made. It says, "See the beautiful things." It just has this beautiful owl. That's from a vintage field guide. And it has some organza lace on top. There we go. And then more of that. That's a palm plant on that vintage magazine. And this is coffee dyed paper. And we have a little fabric tab collage up top. Some nice botanicals. And then this is a brass paper clip on coffee dyed paper. And this is an old image of a boat to ship in Toronto, probably in the Toronto Harbor. 1950s photograph, original. And then on this side we have this little envelope that has this cute little closure. And inside of it, it's a pocket, of course. It has this little $2 little journal card. It's from a vintage game, a handmade game. It was kind of like almost like a Monopoly piece style game. It was really cute. And then there's a pocket back here holding this as a fabric tag with this cute little robin from a children's book sewed on. And on back is red tab paper from like an index tab. And in back we have another patchwork pocket and another fabric tag with another cute little bird. They're just having a little chat with each other. And this one has some fun woven fabric, green leaves kind of stitched on it. On back we have some paint paper. And that is the end of this sweet little traveler's notebook. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will be probably popping this journal up in the shop. I'm making a few of these for a little holiday market that I'm participating in. But I will probably also pop them up in the shop, a few of them anyhow. So keep your eyes open. If you don't follow me on Etsy and you're interested in these journals, you should. That's probably the best way to be notified if and when I do post these journals for sale. So thank you so much for tuning in. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description box. And I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. So have a lovely day and thanks again for watching.